They have the thing that they call the 105 cosmic laws. That's applicable to the third dimension. So they, tell us that every dimension has a different set of cosmic laws because of the properties of the dimension, and that makes total sense. So we have 105 here, and just covers. I mean, I couldn't even begin to relay all of them. We see them frequently happening, but I mean, they're put there to control the parameters for the dimension itself. And this is a very solid dimension. So it's going to have a lot more laws to equate to that solidifying factor of what's happening in this dimension. If we go to, another dimension, we go to the fifth dimension, it's very much a light body dimension, has a different set of laws there. So this is something that, they've tried to make sure that we understand that just because it says there's the 105 laws, that's only applicable to here. It doesn't apply to the other dimensions. We would have to learn what those are.
Are these laws spiritual or scientific, like with physics?
The 105 cosmic laws are meant to affect both. So really, do we have physics? Well, only as far as we can comprehend. If you ask them, they say physics doesn't really apply. But the laws themselves set up the properties for that so that we have an understanding what that is. And likewise, it's going to affect the spiritual aspect of it. What are the properties of being a spiritual person? And so those laws are meant to affect that, to give us guidelines, so to speak, and make sure that we're living within the confines of that. What happens when we go out of the confines of that? Well, things fall apart. Right? And so these 105 cosmic laws were put into place specifically for the third dimension to affect those things.
Could you give us an example of a few of these?
In our own context here we go, thou shalt not kill, right? But under the 105 cosmic laws, there's a specific law that values life. And in stating that it's valuing life, we would not assume that you would take a life because that's not the way the law is laid out. So once you start following the context of what the law is trying to lay out, you realize that it's sort of a whole cycle of how an entity is brought forth, constructed, lived its life, evolved, and then ascends. And that's the whole purpose of the laws, is to give us those guidelines of how that happens. So no, we didn't come in with a book when we were born that said, here's how it's going to work. But at some point, if we had been cognizant of them all along, we would have had those laws up front. But they've been lost through our history. They've told us, you've lost everything. And, I want to ask them, well, who lost it?
Right. Where did it go?
Right. Where did it go?
Get buried somewhere?
It's probably sitting in some vault somewhere, for all we know. But the thing is that they say if you were aware of this, you would have had more understanding outside of the planet of what's happening, and more understanding of what's happening on our planet itself. So these laws become very important to us, and, we're coming through them now. I don't remember all of them. I mean, I have a hard time remembering 10, so 105 is going to be a lot. But what they're trying to say is that once we learn these laws, we'll understand how things work, and we'll have a better understanding of, where the planet's going.
How do they compare human intelligence with their own intelligence?
So we're not very intelligent. I know we think we are, but we're not. You spend 10 minutes with one of them, you're going to realize that you are not on the same scale. But what's intelligence? I mean, they've asked us that question before. Do we understand the definition of intelligence? And of course, I can go to the dictionary and look it up, yes. But that's not how they define intelligence. And so some of them, I've talked about the Andromedans feeling like they have a superiority over us. But you have to remember that a lot of their intelligence is programmed into them.
Right.
So they're given aspects that, we clearly have not even defined yet. And is that the summation of what intelligence is? That would be hard to say. But they are very much more intelligent than us. Because they've been exposed to more, because they've seen other processes,
right,
because they understand it from a totally different aspect than we possibly can. I mean, we can't even explain half of what's happening on this planet most of the time. So if you want to equate intelligence to that, yes, they're going to be far more intelligent than we are. But then, if we define intelligence as the ability to perceive something and conclude it as being something, then I think that, we're well on our way to that, because our observations are very good about what we observe. That doesn't mean that we understand what's happening, but it means that our observations, and that's really, remember, we talk about creation and comprehension. That comprehension piece is so important for us.
Like you said earlier, that's where the knowledge comes in, because with all that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
When we can comprehend it, we can make so much better use of, how it's going to affect our life and where we're going to go.